2010's Alabama. People are doing that. I mean, does that kind of speak to what Kirby has built?
Kirby is now the standard. Whether he wins or not on Monday night, I think it's pretty clear if you're just being objective and fair with the job they do in recruiting every year. Most importantly, the job they do in developing players, the staff that he has. The fact that they don't ever take their foot off the gas, it is such a hard thing to do. And he's learned that with Nick, his 4 years there in Tuscaloosa, and he's brought that in his own way, with his own energy and his own way of coming up with ways to get guys mad and motivated. And I give him all the credit in the world. And if they win Monday night, it's not going to change me where I am currently with Georgia. I think Georgia's the bar. Not that Alabama's gone or done. I just think Georgia's gotten to that point. And next year, I can't wait to watch how he gets mad again. Win back-to-back. They'll come back next year. They'll be mad at the world again. They want to disrespect it. And that's a credit to him and the approach that he has and the type of guys he recruits, too.
So much of the narrative around college football has been people only want to see the Blue Bloods play, but TCU's been one of the 10 most watched teams in the country.
Yeah.
Them being in this championship game, what does that mean for the long-term perspective for college football?
I think it's great. And I think you're right. You bring up a good point about, people thought Ohio State and Michigan might be here, Georgia and Michigan might be here. Here's TCU. And I think for I don't know what the term is, the casual college football fan, maybe there's like, oh, wow, what could have been? But I've done 2 TCU games, the Texas game in Austin, and of course the Big 12 championship. It's really hard not to love the team, because of what they have faced. Their story has been amazing. They didn't even have a vote in the preseason in the top 25. Their quarterback, who becomes a Heisman finalist, he wasn't even a starter after being around for 3 years as a guy that played a lot of football. And then he ends up having the year that he had. The team fought back how many times in the third and fourth quarter. So it's like the little engine that could, but inside that locker room, they believe. And so I think it's fantastic. I think it's a hell of a storyline. As far as what it does for, as we expand to 12, who knows whatever. Where's TCU going to be? Is there going to be a Big 12? Is there a Pac-12? Is there an ACC? I have no idea what the future is. But I think it does, imagining 12 teams and schools like TCU and Cincinnati last year, so good for the sport, not to just have Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State every single year. We want more opportunities and more teams like this to get in here. So I think it's good. It's exciting.
Win or lose, what do you think Stetson Bennett's legacy is, for Georgia and for college football as a whole?
He's what every high school coach talks to every kid about. It's not a 5-star. More people can relate to Stetson Bennett than can relate to C.J. Stroud, right? Because here's a guy that, his story, that nobody, it's easy to sit here right now and talk about how great he is, but 4 years ago, nobody was talking about how great he is. And to be able to have that internal fire is incredible, to think that he could overcome his own coaches basically telling him twice, you're not good enough, and yet he just kept coming back. He's the ultimate underdog story, and here he is trying to win back-to-back national championships, something we've only seen twice in like 40 years. So he to me, I can't say enough good things about him. I love how he plays. Talking about being mad, I love how he gets mad. He plays with a chip on his shoulder, and yet he's become the face of this program, this year. And when he's done playing, I think those of us who just objectively love the game will miss him a lot.
For you, when you just watching this Georgia team over the last few years, was there a moment that you realized he was better than maybe the expectations were for him, or that the coaching staff had for him?
Yeah. Wow. That's really loud. Who's in charge of the music? That's really loud.
No.
Pause in the action.
Yeah. Intermission.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're good.
Is it over?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl champions, the Georgia Bulldogs.
He's probably got like 2 minutes, and then when their session
What was the question? I can't remember.
What was the question?
After
yeah,
Stetson.
yeah, like when
When did we know that he was
when
good?
did you personally realize that he had
You know,
something?
I actually called a Georgia-Auburn game in Athens. Might have. I got all.
2020.
Was it 20? What's up, Bill? How you doing? Was it during COVID or?
That was in the COVID year, yeah.
I liked him there. You know, I thought, wow, he's because of his mobility. Hadn't really seen that from a Georgia quarterback in a long time, and I loved how he wasn't afraid of the big moment. So that was a game for me that I was like, wow, this guy's wiring's a little bit different. And then, you know, he still hadn't proved himself yet, and they were still trying to get JT Daniels in there in 21. And then obviously he ends up winning the job. But now Pollock's with us too, and you know, Pollock and I off the air would always talk. He and I both loved him. And we would all marvel at the fact that Georgia's fans and media and even their coaches didn't go. They wanted the big name, and JT Daniels. But that was, I think back, the Auburn game, all the way back in 20 is when I saw enough from him to be like, he's a leader too. He's such an amazing, he has a way, his style of play and his like fighter mentality. He has a way of really rallying his team. And then once he started to make some big plays in big games, I think everybody went from like doubting him to then starting to believe in him.
As Georgia goes for a second straight title, what do you see as the biggest difference from last year's team to this year's team?
Stetson Bennett. I think, and the defense to replace all of those superstars, all the 5 first-rounders, to imagine doing that, and yet here they come again with another defense that's championship caliber. But I think it's Stetson Bennett. I mean, last year, you know, they still won because of other pieces around him, and I think this year they're winning because of him, his decision-making and his playmaking ability, and the offense has really grown around him.